Hey everybody, welcome to Local Business Hacks Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Case, and I'm on a mission to help you. Every week, we're going to be talking to local business owners and experts to get their best tips, tricks, and hacks to grow your business. This show is designed to teach you, inspire you, and motivate you to take massive action and start to build your future-proof business. Whether you're just starting off or you're taking your existing business to the next level, this episode is for you. So let's get started. Hey, local business hackers. I'm your host, Director of Global Business Development at Referrizer, joined today from 10,000 miles across the world, founder of Body Fit Training, Cameron Falloon. Cameron, welcome to Local Business Hacks, buddy.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. It's great to see you again. And for those that are listening, it's very early in the morning over on my part of the world. So I hope you're having a good afternoon.
Thanks, Cam. I'd love to get right into it. I know that you've had quite the journey. I've done some research on you from having a serious injury at 18 to starting off your career at 24-Hour Fitness. Talk to us about what really drove you to found what today is Body Fit Training.
Yeah, I started life as an apprentice carpenter. Left school early, didn't finish school, and that wasn't because of any academic issues that I had. I just was bored at school and wanted to do something and get out. And, had a back injury that led me to started studying anatomy physiology in 1994, started PTing in 95, 96 in the UK and London. And that just led to 25 years of various roles, PT, group training, working with orthopedics in rehabilitation, strength and conditioning, high performance management with elite sporting teams. And BFT is a combination of that 25 plus years and saying, okay, how can I bring that learning, that experience, my passion, and a desire to create something that would have an impact on a positive global scale in the fitness industry.
And fast forward today, over 200 locations open worldwide, Body Fit Training. How can people get involved? Talk to us about the brand.
Yeah, so we're actually nearly 300 studios open, 700 sold. We're operating in 8 countries, soon to be 11 early in the new year. Yeah, it's great. There's lots of great ways to get involved. We have great franchise partners, master franchise partners who run countries and regions for us, area developers, members. We've got lots of fantastic members, and then obviously our supply partners, and which we value and trust. We're a strength and conditioning based model. What that means is we're taking the learnings, the lessons, the methodologies, and the thinking around how do you program for elite athletes and get them to a level of sustained high-level performance on an international, national scale. But we're bringing that and making that accessible for the everyday weekend warrior. And we do that through progressive 8-week training blocks where we give people the opportunity to grow and progress in their journey. We integrate it with technology that's simple and meaningful. So there's so much data out there now with wearable technology. And to be honest, most of us don't know what to do with it. So we're very good at creating technology, and we're very good at making complex things simple in the aim of better feedback, more meaningful feedback for our members to get them better results, keep them engaged, and get them along a lifelong journey rather than, as we know, most gym members come once a week and they fall off their membership after 10 months. We want them coming more often and longer because we know how good exercise is for you.
Cameron, thank you for that. And bodyfittraining.com for anybody that wants to really see a location near you, bodyfit.com/franchising if you want to see how to really join Cameron's team. Cameron, before we dive in to your local business hacks, I'd love to talk about the integration to Exponential Fitness. You know, us being a partner of Exponential, we love supporting the brands that have joined underneath that umbrella. How was the transition for you, and how do you see Expo really supporting you guys forward since that relationship?
Yeah, we're just over two years now into our journey with Expo, and it's been a good relationship. There's, like all relationships, whether it's personal, business and other, there's always ups and downs. And the great thing is that led by Anthony Geisler, their CFO, John Moreland, and others, that we have very honest, open, transparent conversations. We're aligned in terms of what the end goal is and the outcomes. There's certainly some challenges early days for us because you feel like, well, we've grown the business, we know it so well, then you're handing over the IP to a country on the other side. At the time, we were in COVID, so Melbourne was in lockdown. We didn't have the ability to travel. And so initially there was probably a little bit of a slower transition purely because of those challenges at the time. But we've just had 2 great days in Las Vegas at their conference and with their executive team. So we're really aligned and we know exactly where we're going for the future. They've done a great job selling the brand. And to be really honest, they would do that way better than us with their knowledge of the local market in America. You know, America's just a huge beast to tackle for those that are outside of the country. They're far more equipped. They've got the infrastructure in place. They've got the right people. So they will do the brand justice and handle that way better than what we would, and quicker than what we would have, which everyone benefits from that. The brand benefits, our franchisees' investments benefit from that. So there's some exciting things coming. They've just released a new app, a performance app for us, for the brand. There's currently a mapping out of a technology pathway for the next sort of 24 months. And that's really exciting. It's exciting for us. They've got those capabilities at that level, which we don't, as good as we are with the tech side of things. The reality is they're a pretty big beast, Exponential Fitness, and they've got 9 now, 10 other brands that they've just got inherent learnings from and made mistakes and rectify those mistakes. And we have the good fortune to learn from those lessons and benefit from that.
That's awesome. And your members do too, which is also incredible. It's a win-win across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I guess we have a philosophy of fairness across our business, and that what that means is that everyone has to win. It can't just be the franchisor winning. It's got to be our franchisees first and foremost, our supply partners, whether it's equipment suppliers or our CRM systems or our debit gateways. They've got to win. They've got to be making money, and they've got to be happy with the relationship. Our members have to win, and if those 3 things are all happening, then us as the franchisor will win. And it's pretty simple. So that fairness philosophy permeates through our business, and it's something that we challenge our staff here to keep us accountable to.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Cameron. So I'd love to dive in the purpose that we're here today. Being in this industry for almost your whole life, would love to hear from you. You know, what are these stories that really shaped your local business hacks that you love teaching other people?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one for me was when I did my back injury when I was 18, and the first thing I learned was that you have to take responsibility. There's no one there that's going to turn this around for you. So you can lean on people, but ultimately, as an individual, you have to take ownership. You need to take responsibility for your own path. And franchising is a great example because, you know, there's all these people who buy franchises who in their own right are entrepreneurs, but they've got the backbone and the system and process of a franchisor. And it can, not saying it does all the time, but it can be really easy to blame the franchisor or blame the system. So what I learned from that, the very first for me, is take responsibility. You know, when I did my back and my whole life changed, it was, okay, no one else is going to get me out of this. I need to actually be the change. I need to take control of my own destiny. And that's tough. Like, you need to sit down, look in the mirror and have some hard conversations. But for me, that's got to be the basis of where you move forward from. You know, stop kidding yourself and blaming others. Look yourself in the mirror, be honest, and take some responsibility, because you can't move forward without that. So that's probably number one for me that I learned very early in my life. A big one for me is the back of that is evaluating yourself annually. Either December and January are the months where I start to take stock of everything in my life. Some may call it goal setting. It is in some way, but I'll look at different areas of my life. So I'll look at business, personal development, lifestyle, fitness, mental wellness, relationships, family, etc. So I'll break down a whole lot of areas of my life and look at, okay, what am I wanting to achieve, and is it realistic? So some things are immediate, short-term, some things are long-term. And I really just I then create an action plan. How am I going to achieve that? I then review that because, again, some things are unrealistic. All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, my whole week's going to be, how am I going to get any work done? I'm trying to achieve all these other goals. So I spend a lot of time being really honest with that. I have a beautiful wife and kids, so I talk to my wife about it. We get aligned on certainly some of the financial lifestyle type goals, relationship goals. And then the hack for me is, how do you constantly, when you've got so much going on in your life, how do you get these little reminders all the time about what you're trying to achieve and to keep you on track? So I do things like all of my passwords, whether it's email passwords, logins to our comms channels here, or my banking passwords, they are all positive affirmations or mantras about my goals. So every time I'm logging into the bank, I'm actually typing in something that I want to achieve that year, or a reminder to stay on track and not lose sight. And that's a really interesting thing, because I've been doing it for 20 years. And it's interesting how just subliminally, if I could say that correctly, that just ticks away. And I find it self-fulfilling, rather than setting goals and having an action plan and then having a scheduled, okay, at the end of each week, I'm going to see how I'm going. I'm getting it multiple times every single day, just because of that's my passwords. So that's a really simple one, which I think is really valuable. People do mood boards and those sorts of things. I have images. I've got an image that I had when I was 18 and a half when I did my back, that I remember flipping a magazine. I saw an advert. It was for a brand called Country Road, which is a clothing label. And I saw this particular image, and I looked at it and went, that represents to me happiness, healthy. It looks to me like the people in that image are successful in business and life and relationships. That's what I want. And I still have that image in my head. So I have various images that I store in the grey matter. I put them on my phone, and they schedule to pop up on my screen. And again, they're just reminders every day. So that for me has been a great hack in terms of keeping me motivated, not losing sight of things, keeping me accountable on a multiple times a day in a really subtle way, if that makes sense. So you don't feel like sometimes we set goals and we feel like we're absolutely chained to them, and it can be constricting. I like this because it's just subtle reminders, and I can be in a meeting, see a photo pop up and go, okay, that's now going to motivate me to really dial into this meeting and get the maximum benefit out of it and get a result, rather than drift off because it's 4:00 in the afternoon and I'm tired and I've been in meetings all day. So that's a good little hack from me, and something, as I said, I've been doing for a long, long time that I feel has been really, really valuable to my success.
I love the mantras and affirmations. The password hack is totally new. I've never heard of that one. So thank you, Cameron. I'm definitely going to be ChatGPTing a handful of new ones that I've never heard before.
Yeah, good. That's good. Yeah. And, businesses, everyone's version of success is different. So in terms of these hacks, I guess it's what you want to achieve. A big one for me, if you're an entrepreneur or you're starting a business, is get your hands dirty. You need to go and make mistakes and embrace those mistakes, and then sit down and go, okay, I made a mistake. What am I doing to make sure I learn and move forward? You may make the mistake again, but let's hope that it's not more significant or monumental. And that's critical in any journey, whether it's personal life or business. I don't like making mistakes, I'll be really honest, but the reality is I also understand how valuable they are. So be prepared to make mistakes, put yourself out there, be vulnerable. And then depending on what you want, are you prepared to work the 80 hours a week so you don't have to work 40? And people often see the destination of what success looks like. I think it's really important. You've got to evaluate it and go, you know what, I'm really going to embrace the journey. I'm going to embrace the highs. I'm going to embrace the lows, and then put a plan in place to cope with that, because there's mentally tough challenges. There's low points where your physical health can be challenged because you're spending so much time working, and then, you know what, maybe I won't work out today. What are you doing to make sure your life is operating at an absolute optimum level, much like an athlete? How are you prioritizing to make sure that 80 hours a week is fully functional? Yeah. And so, for me, it's a lot of people jump into this because they're seeing the destination, but they're not really embracing the journey. So embrace the journey. There's challenges, there's loneliness, there's a lot of upside too, potentially. But you've got to really, really be up for that and embrace it, and surround yourself with great people. Working in high performance environments, in sport, every day you get evaluated. You're in the media, and if you win, you're fantastic. If you lose, you suck. But internally in those environments, we're constantly evaluating and getting feedback on a daily basis, because it is all about high performance. Oh, yeah. And what that does is gives you a good understanding of yourself. So I'd say to people, if you can, go and do a personality test, a psychological profile, understand you, because a lot of people don't. Understand who you are, your personality, how you communicate, what makes you tick, and then surround yourself with people with strengths outside of what you're strong at. The other thing I'd say in business is you must get diversity of thinking in the same room. So we have a lot of different people from different backgrounds and different lenses to challenge our thinking. If I get people who just think like me, our business is buggered. So get diversity of thinking, diversity of skill sets, get the best people around you, understand your strengths and weaknesses, but really understand who you are, because often we don't take time to do that. We're just forging forward all the time. And we tend to make common mistakes, often with people, hiring, firing, etc. And I always go back to, well, okay, if I'm turning over staff, that's probably me. That's a me problem. That's a Cam problem. I need to go back and reflect and look at myself, my behaviours, and what am I doing versus they just weren't good enough for the job. So I'd really encourage people to do that, because it's something I don't think we're good at as human beings. It sort of goes back to the first point of looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself. This is a slightly different level of getting external professional advice or assistance to ask the right questions and delve into the psyche to go, okay, what does make me tick? How do I communicate? How is that being received by different personalities as well? That stuff for me is really, really valuable, and something that's, I think, is done very well in elite sport, not so much in the work environments.
Yeah, those are all incredible. To something that I've recently experienced, I took a personality assessment last December 12th and wanted to do one again this year and see, because the only thing that's inevitable in this world is change. And we're changing all the time, especially as high functioning individuals. So I took the assessment, and I used to have a high D. Now I have a lower D, and just looking at how I have changed, because it will help me to enable how do I interact with my peers, in relationship, in anything in life, because when I can understand who I am, what my capabilities are, and what I'm able to give and receive, it only helps everyone around me, which is
absolutely. And people might hear that and say, oh, you've gone from a high D to a low D. That's not much in 12 months. That's huge. And the most important thing is it's a step forward, right? It's a positive step forward. And sometimes we're looking for huge step change. I talked about people get focused on the destination. Like, enjoy the journey and enjoy the learning and the lessons and the successes. Like, really celebrate the wins and learn from the losses and the challenges and the failures. So well done. Not many people do it. And I'll be honest, I think what I see is a consistency of patterns in people who are successful in life that do these things, do the things that you're doing. So well done.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. I'm always investing in being the better version of me. I looked at, I think it was my 4th podcast. You're my 176th podcast episode. And wow, have we improved slightly. The beard's definitely getting better also. Cameron, I got a unique one for you. If you were to create a fitness workout themed around the activities of you being a CEO, what would the exercises be called and what would be involved?
Exercises. One would be called perfectionism. One would be called emotional. One would be called, they'd be the 3. There may only be 3 exercises, to be honest, but they'd be big ones. They'd be big compound movements. I think that's sort of me in a nutshell. I think there'd be a caring exercise for sure. And the second part, what was the second part? Sorry, Carl, the structure of the session?
Yeah, what would be involved? Is it because you're spending a lot of time sitting? What's going on in these perfectionist workouts?
Yeah, it's for me. It would be strength based, kettlebells and barbells. Training for me is a mindfulness thing. So not disparaging, for example, going for a run or a walk, but you don't have to think too much about it. When you're under a heavy barbell or you got a kettlebell above your head, there's a mindfulness process to it. So I like that because it frees me up my mental space from everything else I'm doing in my life. So something that takes me away from the rest of the world where I have to just be in that moment, that type of exercise I love for sure. So I'd take my four exercises, which, as I said, the perfectionist, the emotional, the quiet, and the caring, and I'd make them complex. That's what I would do.
As any major CEO should do. That's
interesting. I look at my life and I look at the things I like to do in terms of exercise, and interestingly, they all make me stay present. So I like mountain biking and surfing and weight training, and a lot can go wrong if you are not present and you're distracted. So it's an interesting thing. When I'm on and when I'm off, I like to be really off, and just not thinking about work, because it's hard to not think about work. It's what I love. It's what I do. And so I try to engage in activities for me that force me to switch off, if that makes sense.
Of course. Yeah. And it's stimulating for your brain too. Otherwise, you'd get tired of doing the same things in repetition all the time. Although I know that each day of yours is a new, exciting day.
Yeah, it is. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty. You got to embrace it. Sometimes you know what's coming. And a lot of the time, to be honest, when you think you know, you actually don't know.
And that's okay. Just don't have expectations then.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. You got to put someone said to me, put your crocodile suit on and toughen up. Toughen up.
It sounds way better coming from an Aussie than an American to put your crocodile suit on.
Your alligator suit.
Exactly. Cameron, I can imagine being not only founder of Body Fit Training, but also just CEO of one of the largest group fitness classes in the world. What does your morning routine look like, and how has that evolved over the years?
Yeah, good question. It's really changed in the last 12 months, to be honest. For me, I've always been an early riser. I'm very much start the day positively, get your exercise done, and then there's no excuses. I've found over the journeys, if you put your exercise to the afternoon or evening, there's a lot of things that can get in your way, and your day can get out of control on meetings and other things and family. So I've always been an early riser. I used to do crazy things. I like setting challenges that make me uncomfortable and doing things that I'm not good at. There's just a sense of achievement that I get that makes me feel good about achieving something that, for example, I'm not designed to ride bikes. I'm sort of a heavier, stockier kind of guy. And so I used to get up and ride 500 Ks a week and set myself challenges to ride up mountains that put me through a lot of discomfort. But when I got to the top of the mountain, there was a real sense of achievement, because I look at my body and go, I'm not designed to do this. Like I'm more of a sprinter or a rugby player. So that was me. The last 12 months, I've had some back surgery, which I've avoided since I was 18. That slowed me down a little bit, but it's been really good. It's really got my head around maybe exploring some other things. I love still getting into body fit training studios. I love doing the similar workouts to that, but I've added some more left of field things. I'm doing more community-based stuff. I'm playing squash with friends or tennis, as well as still doing all of my strength training and rehab. So probably more than ever in my life, I have diversity with what I'm doing with exercise. I still get up early. When we jump off this call, I'm straight into the gym here at the office doing a workout. And in fact, I've probably gone a little bit old school. I've gone to some old school weight training stuff I did 25 years ago that I love. And just keeping it simple, I'm sort of releasing the pressure valve of, well, you're the founder and you've got to be super fit and you've got to push yourself to the limit. I'm like, you know what, I'm 50. I just need to be healthy now. I need to move well. I want to make sure I move well. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying just the release of the pressure valve that mind you, I put on myself, and just start exploring some different types of exercises and some recreational exercise, which I really haven't done because I've been inside the four walls and building BFT and building the programs and the technology and just completely immersed in that. So yeah, it's a bit of diversity and exploring things like, which I've done in the past, but being consistent with cold showers and ice baths and steam rooms. And I'm adding that into my week these days, which again, I think's been brilliant for my mental health.
This was the year of the cold plunge.
Yeah, everyone's doing it.
2023.
Yeah. It's a funny thing. I remember back in the late 90s, 2000s, working with some soccer players and actually some Macedonian guys, and they would not get in an ice bath. And you can imagine back then, it wasn't quite what it is today, elite sport. And my negotiation got to a point where I allowed them to have their cigarettes while they were in the ice bath. So we knew the benefits of it a long time ago. It's just that it's become, more popular today, which is brilliant.
Dennis, our agency director, if you are listening to this podcast, this is how we can get you into the cold plunge. Dennis is Macedonian and is definitely married to the pack of cigarettes. So I think that's an amazing, amazing idea to do it.
Yeah, it was, hey, everything in life is about compromise, right? So, They had to win, I had to win.
That's awesome. You got to adapt people to their environment. What better way to do that than let them bring their crutch inside?
Exactly.
Cameron, so going back to BFT, because I've gotten my hands on a BFT workout and it truly is unique, but I'd love to hear from you. You know, we talk about technology. How does technology play a role in enhancing the customer's experience at Body Fit Training versus going to another fitness modality?
Yeah, we have a couple of layers of technology. So I think the easiest bit is people see display screens in the studio. We look at them like the traffic lights. They're just directing the traffic, giving you a visual, because we all learn differently. So some are audible, some are like learning through touch, some are seeing and visual.
Yeah.
So we try to have those three things as part of our business because everyone does learn differently. So we have the screens, they're the traffic cops. They've got everything displayed on them in terms of the imagery, the sets, the reps, the timing, the tempo, the rest periods, you name it, it can do it. And we built all of that off the back of, as I said, many years working with elite athletes and trying to build software that is completely pliable and is going to give us every possible exercise prescription variable that we want to provide variety and good outcomes. So that's one. Most importantly, we built our own heart rate system, and to be honest, in a global first, we've gamified through heart rate strength training, which has never been done before. It took 4 years to make the system, and what that does is Carl's in the session and I'm coaching, and the screen says it's your fifth set of an 8 RM, 8 repetition maximum deadlift with a 90-second rest period, and it says that Carl should be at 80% of his max heart rate. And I look across and Carl's at 60% of his max heart rate. And this is where it's really valuable and where he keeps things really simple. As a coach or a trainer, all I need to do is go, well, hang on, Carl's 20% off where he needs to be. He's deadlifting, his technique's good. I know him. I know he's got no injuries. I know he's well. I'm just going to check in and see how he's going today. Hey, Carl, how you going today? You feeling good? Yeah, man, I'm awesome. You're a little bit off with your weights today. Really? I feel fine. Okay, let's put another 5 or 10 kilos on the bar. And that's going to slow your movement down, so you're spending more time under tension over your 8 reps, gives your heart rate a longer period of time to elevate, and we get you closer to where you should be for that particular set. So we're getting quite granular with what we're doing, but we're keeping it really simple. And if we can do that, we have 36 people on average in our classes. We have 3 trainers, 1 per 12. We can use the technology to personalize your experience in a group training environment. We're effectively giving you personal training, but you're getting the benefits of being in the group, the community, the fun, the energy, the vibe, but you're still getting personal training and you're getting good results, good outcomes, staying engaged. What we then do is at the end of every class, all the heart rate tiles flip and it goes from your live heart rate to a reward system. So it's like a nearest to the pin. So we physically test with human beings all of our programs before they go to franchisees. We can quantify that. And let's just say our point system says, Carl, the session today is 162 points. If you're within 5%, you get a gold medal straight after the class before you've even started your cool down. You get a silver medal, you get a bronze medal. And it's a great reward instantaneously straight after the class, but it's also a great talking point. It's a great time to, while you're cooling down, for the coaches to talk to the members and engage around where were the wins of the sessions today and what could we have done better? What's the next progression of that class? What do you need to be thinking about? So there's just constant little rewards and value adds. And then you go home and then your app's giving you a reward as well. And it's a bit like the mantras I talked about before or the photos with the positive affirmations. You're getting that at multiple levels instantaneously after a class. When you get home and get out of the shower or you get to the office and you get your alert on your phone. So we've really tried to think about what's missing in group training, what's missing in exercise. Strength training in particular has been a trend, a global trend. If you look at the American College of Sports Medicine, it's been a global trend, probably 15 of that in the last 20 years. We haven't innovated. No one has innovated in the strength space in gyms. It's crazy. everyone's trying to do fancy lights, and which is all fine, by the way, and music and scents and all that. I love all that stuff. But if you go into any gym in the world, the majority of the people are on the black rubber lifting weights or probably on a treadmill. Mm-hmm. And Orange Theory have done a fantastic job, and had a hugely successful business trying to mold the two. We've just taken it to a different level with the strength training side of things and really got into the proper strength training and strength endurance and power training. And so that, for me, is the big opportunity in the industry, like innovating in the strength space, because we know most people do it. We know how good it is for you. There's a book I'm reading at the moment on longevity, and chapter 11 is the single best pill you can take to live longer, and then it says exercise. So we know the benefits of it. How can we get people more engaged with it to get better results? And that's what we're doing with BFT. And then we do that over, as I said, 8-week training cycles. So exercises, workout intensity are all progressed over an 8-week period, and it allows people to develop their health and fitness. But also, you and I are in the same class. You've got lots of experience. You can do a barbell snatch. I can't. But that's the exercise for the day. Well, that's okay. We've got alternative exercises we can give you based on how you're presenting at that point in time to, again, develop those skills, give you the opportunity to learn the skills and enjoy the journey. It's not fun going into a class and there's all these really fit people who can do all these advanced movements, and then you're left in the corner going, man, I suck. This sucks. I can't do that. Well, let's give you something you can do. And we've built that into our technology as well. So again, we're taking out the guesswork of the trainers and saying, hey, consistently around the world, if you can't do this exercise, this is the next progression down, and this is the next progression down from that. Or equally, if you're proficient here, here's how you progress up. So we're trying to get, as I said, bring that elite high performance thinking and training methodology and making it really accessible for the everyday weekend warrior.
And most importantly, aside for all that being awesome, you're enabling your trainers and your members to leverage data to make data-driven decisions to drive the reason that they're at BFT in the first place. Although it's a great community and it's a clean and cool looking place, nobody's there just to sit there and meet people. They're there to crush their goals, their fitness, their mental, their personal goals. And we have access to all this data, but how is it being presented? How's it being utilized? If you tell me after a workout, hey, when you were doing a deadlift and you were on rep 8, you should have increased your weight to get to your maximum performance. Well, I don't really care. It's too late, man. That's
too late.
Not any good. So having the way that you guys staff is unique in itself. Having one trainer per up to 12 people so that they can have that hands-on experience with those individual members, but also giving them access to tools that no other franchise has today that enables people in real time to help them accomplish their goals faster is amazing.
Yeah, it is. And look, it's a combination of everything. So if you can do that, you're winning. We feel like we talk about best practice all the time, and it's hard. You've got to challenge yourself to keep, how do we get best practice but make it accessible? We are very good at BFT, much like CrossFit and other brands. We build great communities. So if we can build communities and make it fun, that's for me probably 80% of the battle, right? Because we know people only go to the gym once a week around the world on average, which is crazy. So we average across our network in different jurisdictions between 3.5 and 4.5 times a week. So we feel like we're on the path. We want to become 5-6 times a week, to be honest. But if we can layer community and fun with results and coaching and personalized feedback, that's utopia. That's what we're trying to get consistent at everywhere around the world. And the goal when I built this and was thinking about this was, how do I use the knowledge of elite performance, strength and conditioning with athletes accessible to the mainstream and make a positive impact on a global scale? And that's every day. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to make happen. And you do that by not just the technology and keeping it simple and meaningful, but also supporting the coaches, the trainers, the franchisees, educating them on it. It's unrealistic to be a trainer and have just done your certificate, come into a BFT and be an expert at barbell training, kettlebell training, dumbbell training, treadmills, bikes, rowers, power bands, suspension training. It's unrealistic. So what are we doing as a business to develop that over time? So it's as much about giving the members the opportunity to develop as it is about, through our education vertical in our business, continuing to upskill and invest in our people. We've got better people, we're going to get better outcomes, members get better results, business is in good health. So I talked about that fairness principle is don't just hire people and let them go onto the floor and be on their own. Understand where their gaps are, where their strengths are, get them to work together collaboratively, but also fill the gaps, give them the opportunity to develop, keep them engaged. I went right back. We started this conversation, when I did my back injury, I was like, no one's helping, no one's investing in me, no one's helping me. So part of our business is how do we invest in the people in our business and help and elevate them? Because if we can elevate them and keep them engaged, it's like you walk into a gym and you see a PT who's he's got so much energy, or she, and they're bouncing out of their shoes, and you want to be with that person. And then you see the other PTs like, oh, my life sucks. I get out of bed at 4:30 every day. My first client hasn't turned up. You don't want to be with that guy or girl. So what can we do to light the fire? What can we do so that those trainers are bringing energy and knowledge to add value every day because we're investing in them? And that's a big part of our business, is elevating the people within our business to bring it every day.
Hell yeah, BFT, baby. Bodyfittraining.com. If anybody didn't catch that the first time, go try a workout near you. And then if you love it, as we expect, open a location in your area.
Absolutely.
Cameron, you mentioned something very interesting, which is that you can be a great trainer, but there's no way right out the gate that you're going to be great at all of that. And one thing, once again, going back to the technology, is some of your locations have hundreds of members. And how could me as a trainer possibly remember everything that you did in a workout the last 12 weeks of being a member? So having that at your fingertips, being able to be knowledgeable in real time to help push these members along their journey is, I can't stress how unique that really is in the space. And it's awesome to know that you guys are doing that.
Yeah. Thank you. And it's layered. We have a strength calculator, so we do strength testing. Carl, on your social media channels, tomorrow we're doing our hyper class. It's an 8 to 10 RM day. You're going to be doing bench press. You're going to be doing a back squat. You go onto your app and type in back squat 10 RM, and it will already predict what weight you're lifting. Taking out the guesswork. You come in tomorrow morning, you feel shit and tired, and you're like, you know what, instead of doing 100 kilos in your back squat, you probably would have done 60. But now this is saying, hey, Carl, you can do it, man. You can do it. So you're already in that mindset before you walk in the gym. So we're building technology of lots of touch points to keep reinforcing positivity, but also the benefits to get the results, to keep people on the journey. Keep them on the journey, keep them on the journey. That's what we want to do, and keep them progressing.
Long story short, ladies and gentlemen, the black rubber floor is here to stay, but everything else could be changing.
Yes. That's it's happening around the world.
Hell yeah. Cameron, in wrapping up, before we do that, I just want to say this episode is sponsored by Referrizer. If you want to triple the amount of Google reviews that you had the month before, go to Referrizer.com. We guarantee it and can show you what that traffic does for your business. In wrapping up, talk to me about, if you were going to have dinner with a historical figure from the past, who would it be and what are you talking about?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say John F. Kennedy. I'm going to give you it's a little bit self-indulgent. John F. Kennedy's in my family tree on my dad's side, and I've just heard so many things about the family, him as a leader. I'd be fascinated to sit and talk, and a really interesting time of not just American history, but global history when he was in power in America. Yeah, that'd be, from a professional standpoint, unbelievably valuable and insightful, but also from a personal perspective, given that there's lineage in the family tree, that'd be pretty cool.
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, Cameron, I really appreciate you coming on. We love supporting all of Expo, and congratulations, 300 plus studios opened, and everybody seems to be crushing their goals across the board, and that's all we can really ask for. So congrats to you, congrats to the Body Fit Training team, congrats to the Expo team, and we're excited to continue following the dream.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate the opportunity. Love the chat, and keep crushing it with Referrizer.
Thank you so much. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to head over to our site, local-business-hacks.com, to check out the show notes and send me questions or ideas for future episodes. If you want to grow your business just like the people you've heard from here, follow Local Business Hacks Podcast and tune in for new tips, tricks, and tactics. Until next time, thanks for listening and keep hacking.